Good morning. Hope you're all well this morning. I'm chatting again. I must stop that. Anyway, today's thoughts actually is it's been brought to my attention yesterday. I watched a video, and it's more of a question actually than a reflection. It's like, why do people swear? I mean, it happens a lot, doesn't it? A lot of celebrities do it. I mean, I know that there is a lot of anger in this world. You know, in the past, whenever I've used bad language, it's because it was when I was angry and frustrated, and I was just boiled up and just like letting off steam. That's when I used to swear. But today I hear it all the time. When I'm in an AA meeting, when somebody gives a share and they're sharing about something really personal, they're talking about where the drink took them and it's some painful places, and they swear in that. So it's like that's when they're in pain. They're not angry, they're not frustrated. They might feel a bit anxious, I suppose. Maybe that's why. But why is it happening? Why do people swear so much? I mean, in the 1920s, not that I was living at that time, but in the 1920s, for example, they used to call a guy sir and a woman madam. Now today it's just oi, or oodie-call-it, or thingy-mabob, if they don't know who they are. Or sometimes, when you go shopping, I'm sure you've experienced this yourself. You're not even acknowledged. You could be walking down the road, and sometimes I feel dizzy when I'm walking in the shopping centre and there's hundreds of people going by, all busily doing their own thing. All these faces just passing me by, and I just feel like sometimes quite dizzy with it all, because it's so busy. Everyone's so busy, buying. It's a real commercialised system we live in, and maybe that's why people are so angry. Maybe that's why there's so much swearing, because people want this and they want that, and they're striving for everything that they can't ill afford, and they get themselves in debt. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But that reminds me of a book in the Bible actually called Ecclesiastes, and I love it because it says everything is vanity. This was King Solomon, who was the richest king, and he had everything, and he strived for everything because he was busy. He's a busy man. He wasn't lazy at all. He was a wise man at one stage, but then he went his own way. Self-will picked it up and off he went. But anyway, that's another subject. But he said in Ecclesiastes that everything is vanity, and it is, because all we need really is covering, warmth, a shelter, and food in our belly. Basically, that's what we need. And I find the simpler my life is, the happier I am. I mean, I would like to have a nice car, and I'd like to have a big house, and I'd like to have all the nice luxuries of life. But you know what? That won't make me a better person. In fact, if I was to have those things, I would probably take a lot of things for granted and end up not valuing anything because it's too, because I've got it all. It's like years ago when I was married, I used to do a lot of horse riding. We lived out in the countryside, and it was beautiful. It was in Wiltshire, Marlborough Downs, absolutely stunning place. My ex-husband, he was a herdsman, so that's how we managed, or that's how we ended up living there. And it was really absolutely brilliant living out there. And of course, we weren't living in a big city. We just lived near a small village, and my children went to a village school, and they were quite protected, And of course, we put the telly on, and they would be swearing on that. So I remember saying to them one time, I was saying, "Do you know what?" I said, "The worst thing in the world for an adult to hear is a child swearing." I said, "It is the worst thing." I said, "It's bad enough when you hear adults swear, but when you hear a child swear, it's just awful." And thank God that they took that on board, and I never ever heard them swear when they were children. And that was brilliant, because I hear children today swearing, and they're actually swearing at their parents, and their parents are actually swearing back at them. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of world do we live in? You know? It's like there's just no love shown there. If somebody's swearing away, it's just, where's the love? And the person that's actually swearing away, they must have feel really anxious, because that's a negative vibe that they're kicking out. So they must be feeling quite negative. And this celebrity that somebody said yesterday that I looked like, I'd not heard of her before. So I checking out on YouTube, looked her up, and I saw her, and the first link I got, she was in her car, and the photographers were outside her car, and she was telling them to F off, and she was calling them real crude names. So of course, like, that was my first impression, and I thought, ugh. I didn't even see her. I just thought, ugh. And it was awful. I mean, how embarrassing for the people around her. I mean, I'm not a prude, I'm just a real person, you know. It's like, why do people swear? What is the point? Don't get it. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, the next link I got of this female celebrity, you wouldn't believe it, she was on Sesame Street. A children's programme, you know. I mean, if the children saw that clip of her swearing and having a go, what sort of world do they think? Well, how do they vision our world with people angry and swearing and being crude? And it seems the cruder the better these days. You know, I see some links and they got thousands of people liking it, and like sometimes I open it up and it's like, oh my goodness, you know, it doesn't actually make, there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just crude, foul-mouthed anger. I mean, maybe some people think swearing makes them more macho, I don't know. But in my eyes, swearing is a waste. Well, in my ears, it hurts. And in my vision, it just is a waste of space. You know, I'm sure actually a lot of people who swear every other word, if they cut out the swearing, they'd have nothing to say. Sorry, that's judgmental, isn't it? Anyway, that's my opinion on it. If I've offended somebody, I'm sorry. But, you know, we're all entitled to our own opinion. This is one thing that this world hasn't taken away from us, is our thoughts. So I do love everybody. And, you know, if you do swear, and have a little reflection on that, because you can be offending somebody, you know, because swearing is not necessary. And without it, you'll become a better person anyway. Because that's also a way of showing honour, you know, is having respect for the other. Because, like, some people, even though they might not say it, they don't like the sound of swearing, you know. And it's not necessary, is it really? So anyway, love you all. Take care. Have a beautiful day. I'm about to have a nice study, and then I'm off hopefully up to the garden to do my gardening, because it's been raining all week, so I haven't been up there yet. So I'll put some veggie seeds in. So have a lovely day. Take care of yourselves, and whatever you do, be safe. Okay, bye.